Hello, welcome to Flight Path. My name's Simon, and we are continuing our talk on Waterloo, the Battle of Waterloo. And we've been actually just started with the advance of the French on the 15th of June, and they're crossing the borders. What you see below you is the town of Thuin. This is on the left-hand side of the advance. Napoleon is in 3 columns, basically, and his left-hand column is over here at a town called Thuin, and they're all trying to converge on a city, which you'll see where that blue line runs there. That is heading towards Charleroi. Thuin is important because this is a major crossing point of the river Sombre, and we've got the core here of rail is at this point now. Rail's core, I think it was number 3 core. So you've got rail core, third core here. To his left is the d'Erlon's second core, and d'Erlon has crossed the river Sombre here, and is moving up this road towards a place called Binche. Rail has got to this towns of Thuin and Lobbes, and there he will then try, once he's across here, to move up as well to get up to these plains here, cut off this road here, which links the Prussian First Corps with the British at Mons, and the First Corps of the British under the Prince of Orange, and the central core, central column of the French was driving from a place called Beaumont, and they will drive straight down the middle here into Charleroi from this direction. And that was the columns of, there was Van Damme's corps. He was the 4th corps, I believe. Sorry, his was the 3rd corps. D'Erlon's was the 2nd corps, and Rails was the 2nd corps. D'Erlon's was the 1st corps, and Van Damme's was the 3rd corps. Van Damme's 3rd corps would be in the middle, with Lombard his 6th corps behind, and behind that would be the Imperial Reserve. And on the right hand side we've got the cavalry stationed at a place called Walcourt, and they will be coming over, crossing the border here at T. Can you read that? T. Le Chateau, and they will also be coming up from a place called Philippeville, heading, which is here, heading up this road from this direction. So that's the state of play at the moment. We had the first shots being fired around Thuin. We had the warning gun being fired at a place called Fontaine. Dilek, this place here. How do you pronounce that? Fontaine l'Evêque. So Zieten, he's the commander of the 1st corps. He's quartered in Charleroi, and this night, and he's woken by the cannon fire at 4 a.m. And he is certain by 4:30 that this offensive is a major offensive, and he writes 2 letters. The first one is in German and is sent to Blücher, and Blücher is at Namur, which is to the east, here. And the second one is in French, and it's designed for Wellington. Now, there's some questions about the messengers, in terms of how long it would have taken for a message to get from here to Brussels. We're talking probably 30 miles in distance terms from Charleroi to Brussels by horseback. It's difficult to estimate. I've got my notes here. I'm just pausing here because my notes here are saying that one of them arrives at 8:30 a.m. and another one arrives at 9 a.m. I don't think that's possible. That's a very fast horse. Am I being silly here? Is that silly? Anybody who's a horse rider, would that be possible? Because I think you'd have to. But that what they're saying there is that Wellington receives a letter at 9 a.m. I don't think that's right. 5 hours to ride 30 miles, possibly. Possibly there might be a chain of fresh horses. Yeah, okay, possibly. When in Namur, I think, let me just ask. So Namur is about 20 miles away, and Brussels is 30 miles away, but the roads, remember, are pretty poor. I'm not sure. Presumably they would ride their horses almost to the ground to get these messages across. So I presume there will be some sort of network of horses. You ride really, really fast for a section, just jump off, get another horse, and move off again. If anybody knows horses, if anybody knows how dispatches work, is it feasible for a letter written at 4:30 in the morning to reach Wellington 30 miles away by 9 a.m.? I'm not sure if that's anyway, these are the sort of questions we have concerning Waterloo. Is at what time does certain messages arrive? Where, because sometimes they are slower, sometimes they're faster. There's messages that get crossed during the campaign. Presumably, some of these messages actually don't make it, especially if they're riding through battlefields. But we'll see. But Blucher, say Blucher does get his by 9 o'clock in the morning. He immediately orders that his army concentrates at Sombreffe, which is over here. There we go. This is Sombreffe. And so what we can see through the haze here, we've got live weather on at the moment. This is the direction that the Prussians will be moving from and down towards the south. So Sombreffe is important. This is it lies basically at the eastern end of this sort of Nivelles, Quatre Bras, Namur road, which is this road here. And so this road, which we're following along here, comes all the way through. Below us right now is Quatre Bras, and this comes across over to Nivelles on this side. So this is a very important road for the Wellington and Blucher's army. This will allow them to traverse left and right across the battlefield and move to wherever the direction of the French attack is. So that gives you a good example there of what's happening. So from Wellington's point of view, he's looking down this way here. He knows the Prussians are going to accumulate over here in this area. And so his immediate concern is to get his troops down this road here, down the road from Brussels and from the western side, get themselves to this junction right here, which is Quatre Bras. Now, there wasn't just messages being passed to the Prussians or back towards Wellington in Brussels. There was other messages getting passed. Major General von Steinmetz, and he's the commander of the brigade that's first attacked by Rail's corps at Thuin and Lobbes, which is back here. He sees that the post further to his west, which is under the command of Major General Merlin of the Netherlands, receives the information. And Merlin receives this information. He's in this sort of area here, and he passes the information along the lines all the way back this way to Mons. And to tell Dornberg, who is stationed here, that the attack is coming from in the Charleroi area. Dornberg himself will then send him, and so he receives this message at 9:30. So a message has gone to Blucher, he gets it at 8:30. There's a message that's gone to Wellington, and we believe he gets it at 9 o'clock. And a message has got to Dornberg here in Mons, and that's at 9:30. So there's 3 messages being sent out. Dornberg takes it upon himself to inform the Prince of Orange, and his headquarters are at a place called Braine-l'Alleud, which is somewhere back towards Brussels. Am I going the right way? Braine-l'Alleud would be there's Nivelles. Let me just check where that is on the proper map. It might be easier. So yeah, 9:30 Dornberg receives his message. He sends his message back to the first Corps commander of the British at Braine-le-Comte, which is just should be around here somewhere. Here we go. This is where the Prince Orange. Did I get the right place? That wasn't the right place, was it? We are right back at Waterloo. Should be in this area here. No, come on, don't break me, don't. And let the connection get back better. It could be here. It's might be this place here. Yeah, this is it here. So this is the Prince Orange's Orange. This is his headquarters here. Let me just move this map out of the way for you. So 9:30, the message is being passed here to the south west of Brussels. You can see Brussels in the distance there. All right. Well, if it's from Braine-le-Comte, you're talking probably less than maybe 2 hours by horseback. I was just, I'm not very au fait with horse riding speeds and how it worked, but presumably when they had messengers, they would likely have stables set at regular places along roads, so the messengers could basically swap horses very quickly. I was a little bit shocked how quickly a note could get passed back if one's at sent at 4:30 from Charleroi here. Then it looks like maybe 5 hours to get from Charleroi to Brussels. I'm not sure. I think that's probably about right. I have heard of big, longer distances. I think if you were actually trying to pass a message, when we look later in the campaign, a message is trying to get from, in the confusion of the aftermath of the Battle of Ligny. I think messengers were getting lost a lot. There's a lot more confusion road-wise on the eastern side of this battlefield campaign area, and I think sometimes with conditions of the roads, then the messages could get longer. I did think at the back of my head, I think there was some messages that were taking almost 12 hours to get from one place to another, and so yeah, that was and that's definitely something that other people might be able to know a little bit more of. But it makes you think as well that the trip he makes, Wellington makes to Enghien, to this cricket match with the daughter of Lady Lennox, might have been an unwise move, because if you think about it, if he's moved 20-30 miles to the west, and then any message coming from the Prussians is now going to add almost half a day's journey, and they'll probably have to go to Brussels first, find out that he's not there, and go to Enghien. But when we do get to Wellington's situation, him being at the ball, the Richmond ball, Duke of Richmond's ball, is a wise thing to have, because then all the messengers know exactly where he is, and also he can just literally go, "Thanks for the message. You off you go, get to where you've got to be. So the message had got to this other message had got to Dornberg, and Dornberg and Mons had passed it on to the Prince of Orange at Braine-le-Comte. And from there, Colonel Sir George Berkeley, he waits a while because he needs he wants confirmation that it's correct, and then from there he then will send that message from Dornberg to Wellington at in Brussels, and so Wellington will receive that message from Dornberg at 6 p.m. So he's going to get, he's in Brussels. In the morning he receives a message from Zeiton in Charleroi saying that the French are coming. He then receives a message 9 hours later, which has come from the Prussian front independently via Mons, Dornberg, to the Prince of Orange's headquarters, and then on to him. So his confirmation from his right flank that there is a major attack at Charleroi is confirmed at 6 p.m. on the evening of the 15th. So first one is like, okay, something's happening. Second one is, okay, this could possibly be it. Wellington then proceeds though with his ball after that point. The same report and this is also when I think the Prince of Orange he receives this news at 3 p.m. and he's actually in Brussels at the time, dining with Wellington. There's believed to be rumbles of cannon could be heard as well. Whether that's true or not, I'm not familiar with Napoleonic cannon fire, whether you'll be able to hear it 30 miles away. But Zeiton sends another message. He sends a message at 11 a.m. And by this time, this is a message that says that the French have captured Charleroi. And he sends this message to Muffling. And Muffling is the Prussian aide-de-camp who's with Wellington's staff. And Muffling will receive that report at around about 3 p.m. At 5 p.m. on the 15th, Wellington then receives a message from Blücher. And Blücher sends a message to him confirming what Zeiton's original report has mentioned. The one that was also sent in French to Wellington. And in this message that Wellington receives around about 5 p.m., Blücher confirms that he's going to concentrate his forces at Sombreffe. So you can see how it's all triggering off. Now that message that Blücher's sent to say I'm going to be concentrating on Sombreffe sounds to me like a pre-planned move, and that triggers a number of things that need to be done. And what happens at this point is that when it starts, so we're talking early evening on the 15th, there is Wellington starts sending out orders to his divisional headquarters. And this is basically to get themselves prepared and concentrated at their predetermined locations. So it's basically like get everyone together, grab your bags, get moving, get to these concentration points, and await further orders. So yeah, he hasn't given any notification to his people about where they want to go. Just get to your concentration point for now, and wait for which way you're going to go. Now this is a interesting moment, because we come to a guy who's possibly one of the key decisions of the Waterloo campaign, and it's amazing to think when we've talked about all the things we've talked about and the way these guys operate. There is and the way that Wellington has he treats his allies. There's this guy, and he's in charge of a division, and he's a Dutch guy, and his name is Poponcha. And this guy is put into a difficult position, because when his orders arrive to concentrate, his predetermined place of concentration is Nivelles. But for Poponcha to do that, he actually had to move away from where the actual fighting was. He had to move away and go the opposite direction. So he was actually stationed probably nearer to Quatre Bras, in that sort of area, and he was told to move to Nivelles. And so he decides that he's going to disobey a written order from the Duke of Wellington. And him disobeying this order possibly saves the whole campaign, because what it means is that there are troops that get to Quatre Bras before Ney's troops do, so that they are actually holding the crossroads of Quatre Bras at the time of the French attack, rather than trying to take the crossroads of Quatre Bras at the time of the French attack. Now, how would that have affected the outcome? Well, we are into the what if world of history, but it does mean probably that if you had come up here and had Poponcha decided that he was going to disobey, Ney would have been in control of that crossroads, important crossroads, on the 16th. Just trying to find it again. So we come up here. So Charleroi, this is probably the road. Okay, so here we go. I believe what we're talking about here is this area here. Poponcha had his troops cantoned in this sort of area here, and the order from Brussels was for him to head this way and concentrate at this town of Nivelles, which is at the, if you remember, we were talking about this road, this old Roman road, very important road. It which you can see here. this line of trees, and Paponcha disobeys that order, and he instead will concentrate at this crossroads here. Now, we've been looking at the way these people operate. You look at the way the Ney reacted when he went across to Napoleon. Look at the way the treaties are written. Look at the way there's this honor that they have in this sort of world. The sort of, making sure you stand up gentleman and all this sort of stuff. Disobeying a direct written order from someone like the Duke of Wellington is a pretty serious matter, and he does. And as I say, that means that on the 16th of June, these crossroads here are under the Allied army control. And that means that Ney can't go to the Emperor's aid, coming across to Sombreffe and going to the Ligny battlefield, which is over here. So Ney can't come to the assistance of these people, because he could probably leave a smaller troop up there at the crossroads, because defending it wouldn't be so harsh. So this means that this battle here, we know Ligny is probably classified as a French victory, but it's more of a knockback for the Prussians. It's not an absolute defeat. And we talked about the mentality of the Prussian army, and that they were very much sort of this stubborn kind of fighting guys. They didn't really rout, more fell back really. But it could have been worse. If it could have been a much bigger victory, if that was the case, and one that would have probably knocked the Prussian army back, and badly back, in the sense that they will flee off the area, out of the area, along their supply route, which is towards Namur. But because they weren't so badly defeated, they kind of retired, wounded but not down. They could sort themselves up and then retire in a parallel way back towards the eastern side of Brussels, which meant that the British and Wellington could fall back on his next position, which would be the ridge at Mont Saint Jean, or what we call the Waterloo battlefield right now, and therefore it was the next line of defence could be utilised. If Wellington didn't have the Prussians on his left, he probably would not have stopped at Waterloo. Probably would have had to retire back, maybe do a defence of Brussels in some way, and try and get together with the remnants of the Prussian army somewhere else, or not at all. It would almost mean that he'd have to almost save his army, and he would retire on that supply route that we talked about to Ostend, and maybe to Antwerp. So Paponcha, remember that name, not many people will, is a very significant person in the campaign, and for part of the army that Wellington didn't respect. I think he owes him quite a lot for it. It's a bit of intelligent disobedience, is what I suppose you could call it. And there's a historian here called Ropes. He wrote a book called The Campaign of Waterloo, and he describes this as that it wasn't just an action without orders; it was an action against orders. And as I say, in this time, in this period, that sort of action was very rare. And would it have happened? You see, this is the thing. If it was a British division down here, and they received a written order from Wellington to concentrate on Nivelles, would they have disobeyed Wellington? You could argue that they wouldn't. But because it's a Dutch division, maybe they feel it's easier to do that. So it's a fascinating part of this history. I will take a quick break here. So I'll leave you. We're just above Charleroi. We'll then come back. We'll look at the approach of the French into Charleroi, and that will be in the next bit after my break. If you're on Twitch, don't go away. It will only be a couple of minutes. And if you're on YouTube, all you got to do is wait, and it'll probably load up the next video for you. If you've enjoyed this, then please give me a like, give me a subscribe. I hope I haven't waffled. I probably did, didn't I? I hope I haven't ummed and ahed. Probably did, didn't I? I hope I haven't blustered. I hope I'm not turning into Boris Johnson. Oh my God, I could be turning into Boris Johnson. Anyway, if you like it, I won't. So there you go. Right, I will see you in the next one. And thank you for watching.